Recently, I was cleaning the windows in my home, and I was really shocked to see the difference between the two windows that are right in front of my kitchen sink. And actually, in this video, I have a picture, um, showing you two windows, and one is much more clear than the other. And I've actually kept it up. I still haven't cleaned the other one yet. I'm actually looking at it right now because it's really been fascinating for me to reflect on the difference between the two. And it's really causing me to reflect a lot on how myself and others, how we sometimes think that our view of the situation or of ourselves is like the only reality, that it's absolute truth. But what we don't realize is sometimes is that there's other ways of looking at ourselves and our situations. And if we just take time to step away, or clean the lens that we're looking through or the window we're looking through, that maybe we can get a different perspective on how we're looking at ourselves and our situations. And that's what reframing is all about. And I talk about reframing all the time, whether it's in my videos or books or courses, because reframing is one of the most critical tools in healing from trauma. Because reframing is all about shifting your perspective and looking at yourself and your situation from a different point of view. And and if you are always looking at yourself and particularly your trauma and focusing on everything that's wrong with you and your life because of the devastation you've experienced, you're going to stay stuck. Like, how can you ever move forward from your pain if you're only focusing on the devastation and in the things that are wrong with you? And so to move forward after trauma or really any difficult situation in life, it's critical to look at yourself and your situation through a different set of glasses. And I, when I've been thinking about this, I've been thinking a lot about a section I wrote about in my new book, Reclaim Your Life After Trauma, The Glare. You might not be able to see it well if you're not familiar with this book, but I just released it a few months ago. And as I look through these windows, the one dirty and one now clean, I was reflecting on something I wrote about in my new book, and I'd like to do a reading from that section. And so in this section of the book, so this book, Reclaim Your Life After Trauma, I don't know if you can see, the subtitle is The Power of Goal Setting. And goal setting is another like absolutely critical tool in healing from trauma, and also why I talk about it all the time. But in this book on goal setting, I also dedicate good sections of the book to reframing. And so this section talks about reframing. Reframing will help you see that your scars don't show your weakness, they show your strength. We all have scars, and we keep them hidden out of shame, like dirty little secrets that we can't ever let anyone know. But in reality, we all have those scars. We all have those secrets. When we start to share our secrets and show our scars, it gives people the courage to share theirs. Now it's not just about empowering yourself, it's about empowering others. I've reached a point in my life where I'm strong enough to handle my past and not let it break me down. The more I face my story, embrace it as my story, and embrace the triumph and sense of victory when looking at how much I've overcome, the more empowered I become, and the greater the impact I have on those around me. The stronger I become, the more people I can pull up so they can win too. Throughout our lives, so many people beat us down. Life circumstances beat us down. We suffer when we continue to try to grasp for something that's no longer accessible to us after our trauma. We want so much to be the person we were before our trauma and have the life we had before. However, many times it's no longer possible, and we suffer because of this. This vision is like sand slipping between our fingers. We try so hard to hold on to it, but it just isn't possible. We remain focused on the few grains of sand remaining in our palms as evidence that we've held on to something. We remain focused on a little bit of our past self that we've been able to hold on to. If only we would let it go, we would see that there's a whole other set of possibilities for our life that could be even better than what we've experienced or envisioned for our life before our trauma. That's what reframing allows us to do. There is beauty in darkness. A lot of good can come out of hard circumstances, but it takes stepping away and looking at your situation as an observer. It takes stepping away from yourself and looking at yourself through a different lens. The reason I love traveling to different places, especially outside of the United States, and the reason I love listening to such a wide variety of books is because they challenge my way of thinking. They challenge me to view my life through a different set of glasses than the current one. The purpose of this book is to help you put on a different set of glasses so you can begin to look at your life differently. Just small shifts in how we view our circumstances can release us from our suffering so we can experience life in ways that aren't tied to our trauma. It's liberating and exciting the moment you realize that you have the power to shift how you're experiencing life just by shifting how you look at your circumstances. And so, this dirty window, clean window right next to one another is just this perfect reminder that there is always more than one way to look at a situation. And sometimes when people look at situations from a negative point of view, it's because they're looking through a dirty window or a dirty set of glasses or dirty lens. And sometimes that dirt and grime comes from years of people beating us down because of the pain they were in. And this is the thing that, we've really got to do when we start like reflecting on our beliefs about ourselves and others and our past that are keeping us stuck, is we have to recognize, like, where did these beliefs come from and who gave them to us? And should we even be listening to these people? And what we must realize is the people who hurt us in whatever way always hurt us because of the pain they were in. And so I think it's important that if you start to recognize that the way that you're viewing yourself in the world is not useful to you, to evaluate, well, who created the dirt and grime on your lens? And what do you need to do to clean that window? And there are so many things that we can do to clean that figurative window in our life. And that's why I said, like, traveling does it for me, talking with other people does it for me. But something that I do every single day of my life is I listen to books, podcasts, and YouTube videos. I am constantly inputting alternate ways of thinking into my mind, because how on earth are you ever going to shift how you're thinking if you don't get alternate points of view in? And those alternate points of view can start cleaning the lens that you're looking through and make you see that, yeah, maybe there's another way to look at yourself and your circumstances. And I'm telling you, reframing is so critical in the trauma healing journey, because how can you ever move forward if you think that you don't deserve anything better than your current circumstances? If you don't think that life can get any better, if that you think your life ended the moment your traumas began, like, how on earth are you ever going to move forward with these points of view? And these are very dirty lenses to be viewing the world through. And what the whole point of coming on today is for you to understand that the lens, the window, the glasses, whatever you want to say that you're looking at the world and yourself through, if those glasses are not useful, to you, then maybe they need some cleaning. And if your way of thinking is not going to allow you to clean that dirty surface, then you've got to get alternate ways of thinking in. And that's where listening to videos like this one and reading books and just talking with other people that have different life circumstances than you, or just a little bit farther ahead in life in places where you want to be than you. It's important to get alternate ways of thinking. And this is another thing, that can keep us trapped in our life, is because we tend to gravitate toward people that think like us, and we gravitate toward resources that align with our ways of thinking. But how are you ever going to change if you're only intaking information from people, books, and articles and videos, whatever? If you're only taking information from these sources that already align with the way you think, you're never going to change. And so in order to change, you have to accept that there's a different point of view than the one you have right now, and a different way of experiencing life than you are right now. And so again, looking through these two windows showed me that there is always more than one way to look at a situation. There is always more than one way to experience life, regardless of the pain that you've endured. And so I encourage you to think about, what window are you looking at the world through? One that is very clear and giving you much clarity about what you're seeing, or one that's dirty and you're not really sure about what you're seeing and whether it's correct, and what can you do to shift how you're viewing the world? And then there's a lot of options. And so if you're not sure where to go next, just reach out. I'll be happy to give you some ideas of how to continue to work on cleaning that window you're viewing your world through. But you're starting off well with listening to this video, and I hope it'll encourage you to intake other resources and points of view that'll help you to shift your perspective about yourself and your future. All right. Let me know, of course, if you have any questions. Bye for now.